think about this idea, and it's called having extreme faith. Because guess what? Faith is the bridge between where you are and the place where God's taking you.
Hey, what's up, Greater Purpose Chasers? So excited that you could join today's podcast. Today's podcast, we are kind of wrapping up our third key that we're talking about, our keys to unlock the door to your greater purpose. So I basically wanted to make it as simple. I didn't want to make it like 20 keys or 30 different things, but definitely wanted to make it as simple as possible, because I mean the process is simple. It's basically clearing the clutter, which is like key number one. We want to take all the junk, all the toxic waste that's maybe in our system from the media that we consume, from our negative friends, from the gossip that we may be involved in our lives, like taking all that stuff and removing it from our space and putting just good positive energy or light into our space. So lighting up the dark space that's now filling the room. So that was key number one. Number two, well, clarity and focus. So clarity and focus was number one. If you were with me during episode number one, where we went into great detail. If you hadn't checked it out already, make sure you go back and check out that episode. It's full of a lot of good content. I won't bore you with all the details of it. I guess not necessarily bore you with the details, but basically I want to bring a message every single week, a message that's going to fill you with some hope, light, and maybe even be a little bit of fuel, excitement, and even drive you closer and closer toward not only discovering your greater purpose, but maximizing your greater purpose. My impact statement personally is that I want to help as many people as possible to take bold action in the direction of their greater purpose, because think about it, a world with people that know their greater purpose, that know that they're loved by God, and that their supernatural purpose, that like they have a purpose that's way bigger than them, that's been etched in their heart, mind, body, and soul. Just to think that you have something bigger than you, that you have a task, an objective that you've been placed on this earth for, that's been etched into your soul before time, like that in itself creates such extreme value for each individual. Because there's a lot of people that are walking around right now hopeless, feeling worthless. There's a lot of lost individuals out there, and I'm not going to say that I don't feel lost from time to time, but I know how to navigate myself back on course because of, number one, investing myself in this same exact process that we're talking about every single week. So just imagine a world of people that not only embrace their greater purpose, but embrace the love that goes behind, or the underlying feature of embracing your greater purpose. So that was number one. Number one was clarity and focus. Like, to maintain the greatest amount of clarity, you need to declutter. Number two was the questioning aspect, starting with why. Like, well, we didn't start with why. We started with the declutter, and then we moved to why, asking why. Why is it important? Why am I here? The three questions that I want you to ask yourself. What am I here to do? Why am I here? What am I here to do? Like, and then how can I best serve others or the world with that thing that I've been placed here to do? Our next key number three, is basically putting it to the test. So a lot of you guys have somewhat of a general idea or ideal of what you think your greater purpose could be or should be, like, but you're stuck in the analysis paralysis zone. You're stuck in that. Should I do it? Should I not do it? I have this going on. I have that going on. For a lot of people, there's a great opportunity to do what you think that your greater purpose is on a very part-time basis. If you think your greater purpose is wrapped up in serving the homeless, guess what? You can do that once a month. If you feel like your greater purpose is in working with kids, how about volunteer with the kids program, with the Boys and Girls Club, with the mentor, mentee, with the mentee program. There's so many different ways to get involved on a part-time basis, but you have to, number one, remove all the junk. Like, you have to maybe step away from social media for a bit and get in touch and in tune with who you are. If you don't know already, we've got the 30-day greater purpose challenge that's going on. So in the link or in the information below in this video, if you're watching it on YouTube, there'll be a couple of links to my books here, my Purposeful Planner, my Fit for Purpose book, which are all tools. They're all resources that are going to help guide you, help navigate you toward your greater purpose, and not only navigate you toward that greater purpose, they're gonna help you to gain some actionable steps. And one of those steps is putting it to the test. Every resource that I have, I want my impact statement is to help as many people take bold action in the direction of their greater purpose. So your greater fulfillment, where is that going to come from? Like, how am I to best serve the world? I mean, just exposing yourself to it on a part-time basis, honestly, might be the telltale for you that, hey, this is where my life needs to be. Or it may be it may be affirmed to you that, okay, maybe I only need to do this on a part-time basis and be flooded with, light, love, hope, and all that good stuff, or whatever the case is, whatever your greater purpose is. But the 30-day challenge, it's just a straight up immersion where you're going 10 minutes every single day with me, and I'm walking you through the first 15 days of your mindset, and then the last 15 days of what we're talking about right here today, which is the grind set, which is the stuff, which is the daily doing. Like, what do I do? Like, I know we're human beings and we're supposed to be, but part of the human animal wants to do stuff or feel like there's stuff that we can do. And I'm going to fill in some of that space for you so we can put actionable steps out there to walk toward that greater purpose. So one of the scriptures that I wanted to give you real quick, because I love referencing the Bible. It's just a good resource that God put here on earth for us. It just gives us some parameters, some guidelines, some stories, some parables, and it's wrapped up in love and hope. So I encourage you to read it. If you're doing the 30-day challenge, you know that one of the guidelines, there are several guidelines, but one of the guidelines is to read 30 minutes a day. And I highly recommend reading the Bible as part of it. They're all recommendations. I make a ton of recommendations during the 30-day challenge of just some helpful things to do. Number one would be to get the book bundle, to get the journal, as well as my book, because they go together. They work in synergy with one another. But going back to the scripture, faith without works is dead. So there's this thing when we start to question. That was key number 2. You start to question, which then starts to affirm your belief. You start to ask questions, and you start finding answers, and it starts to reaffirm some beliefs. So now you start to build up this certain level of faith, right? Like, okay, I'm putting my faith in the fact that God's called me to do this. So now God's calling me to be or do this. I need to go ahead and put some effort or energy into it. I always say, I always think of, God's, assistance with our life and kind of things that we're doing. Like, I always compare it to someone that I'm spotting in the gym. If I see them giving a lot of effort towards each repetition, then it gives me a greater confidence in spotting them. But if I see them not even trying, I'm just basically gonna step away and say, hey, I don't feel comfortable. I'm not gonna do this. And I think God's the same or very, very similar in terms of He wants to see us give it effort too. Like, He wants to make sure that we have skin in the game, that we're trying. Like, He's gonna do a lot of the help, but you gotta do it.
action. Because not only do you have to have faith, you gotta put some legs behind it. We gotta put some action into it. Movement. We're talking about motion. Because it ain't just about faith. It's about the action you put it with it. Check this out. Faith